What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Chew New Podcast. I am back. Episode 243, I believe. And the bad thing is, this thing is back in the podcast with me. Oh my God. It was
I'm here to rescue her.
He was in the swamps looking for another leg.
I was at home watching the disgrace that was falling upon this show.
That's enough fame time for you. But anyways, guys, we are here. We are here on a Tuesday, episode 243. We got a special guest with us today.
My leg.
Not your leg, buddy.
I'm taking it off.
No, don't take anything off. We're going to get into this episode. We got some very interesting stuff here to talk about. This is going to be one of the most interesting podcasts I've done in a long time, actually.
This is going to be a very informative show.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Chew New Podcast. Oh, my God.
We have diagrams and questions.
Oh, hell no! Hell no!
Those first 5 minutes of my life changed.
Because I will be doing a majority of the talking. That's why.
Did he say? Excuse me?
The Chew and Goo Podcast.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Chew New Podcast. I am here with my buddy, and we have a special guest with us today. This guy has done some interesting stuff. A couple of documentaries that have already come out. One interesting one that we're going to talk about. But before anything else, let me just introduce the guy. Mr. Josh Morales in the house, man.
What's up? I'm excited. Here I'm going to get to hold the leg.
Let's not go that far, Josh. Let's not fall into the trap that quick, Josh.
Sorry.
If you want, you can press the button that releases it.
Yeah. You don't want to know where the button is, Josh. Trust me, I got gloves.
I might need those, man.
I'll show you.
Anyways, seriousness here, people. No, but Josh, first things first, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to come over here and play with us on this podcast with some informative stuff that you got going on. I have been following you. I've been stalking you for a while. No, but I've been seeing some of the stuff you post on Facebook, and you got a lot of people that are speak up at you, and some of the stuff you put on there. And I was like, whoa. But I mean, there's two. As I always told myself, there's two kinds of people on this earth. There's one that just let bygones be bygones and just let it go, and there's others that go, well, I want to know exactly. There's got to be something deeper to this, and they keep carving all the way down there till they find what they find, and sometimes they don't like what they find.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but I mean, that's what makes you a very interesting guest with us today. First things first, we're gonna find out where you're from, where you grew up, and how we got into the situation we're in right now.
Yeah,
so absolutely. Let it go. Let's go.
Yeah, so before I jump into this, thank you all for having me. Y'all do a very important thing, which is reach a local audience, which is very difficult for a lot of people. So I commend you, because I've done a podcast before, and it's fucking hard, man. Making sure the guests show up, and then you're booking them, all that stuff. So I commend y'all. Thank you. Thank you very much for taking the time to have me here.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem.
So I started documentary film. Well, before that, I was in a digital marketing. I started in 2016. Started a company with a buddy of mine, and then from there we would hire videographers and photographers. And I learned exactly how to do it because I was out without them in the field, right? So I always followed these guys. I learned. I picked up all their stuff. And then a year after that, I got kicked out of the company I helped start, which was kind of a good thing, because then I wouldn't be able to be doing the things that I'm doing now, right?
Right.
So it's kind of like a blessing in disguise. It didn't seem like it back then, but you go through these things. And I started picking up more videography, so I started selling it to businesses. I did the marketing and advertising through social media. Anywhere you can place a digital ad, I do that stuff, right? I still do it. It pays the bills, because I don't care what anybody says, documentary filmmaking does not pay.
I mean, doing documentary itself, man, I think that's like to me, I see it as a real tough job, man, because you got to really nitpick at everything. You got to really detail everything.
You got to be right.
Yes, exactly. To the T. You can't put you cannot put false stuff out there. You got to put out what you're seeing.
People will fact check you for sure.
Yeah, like I said, going through his Facebook, there was some stuff he was putting out there, and people were like, really like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, wow. Wow. Does that sound like the payaso? Wow. No, but yeah, dude, it's crazy on the stuff that you're doing.
So going back to what you're talking about, the collapse took me 2 years. So a lot of people don't know is I created the collapse, which is a true story of the Queen Isabella Causeway collapse.
Right,
That was
right.
4 years ago.
Right.
It took me about 2 years to do the whole documentary, to actually do the podcast. We had like 9 different podcasts from experts that were out in the water, captains, SEABOAT captains.
Wow.
We had very good intel to tell a compelling story. That went off to win 16 Best Features awards from around the world.
Oh, wow, man.
Wow, congratulations.
That's
Thank you,
awesome,
man.
bro. That's awesome, bro. That's
The
awesome.
second one was Conquista, which is about an artist from Alamo that went to the University of Houston.
Yeah.
And he spray painted over $78 million Pablo Picasso in Houston, fled the country for 6 months, and served 2 years in jail.
Right.
That one went off and won 6 Best Feature Awards from around the United States.
Wow, man.
So I was on a spree. I was like, I can't let the first one go because
Right.
I need to follow it up with something. That way nobody can tell me I'm a one-hit wonder.
Right, I hear you, I hear you,
So
I hear you.
I had to come up with the second one, and then I didn't find anything that was compelling enough that I wanted to spend my time on talking about and then invest another 2 years in what I was doing, right?
Right.
So then came along, I was in Houston. I took my daughter to a dance recital. And March 27th was when the storms came in. So March 27th, it ravaged San Benito, Harlingen area.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it on Facebook, and I just see everybody is like chaos going on here.
Right.
And I've never experienced anything like that. I was on the phone looking at everybody's stuff. I was like, shit, I'm not even home. Like, I don't even know what's going on. I can't help anybody. Nothing like that.
Yeah,
So
I was
immobilized.
out of the valley also up in San Antonio vacation with the family. Yeah, man. When I saw that,
I was
also.
sitting there and I was just like,
crazy.
I was literally your dad at a recital. You're doing nothing. Like I'm literally like my legs are like sitting there like I'm driving myself crazy. So I was like, I started writing a fictional story, like just writing a script because I started getting into script writing. So I started writing a fictional story about a flood that comes and it kills 100,000 people in the Rio Grande Valley and it ravaged everybody. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with like Hurricane Beulah.
Yeah.
Yes.
1967, it came. Did you know that there were 150 tornadoes that ravaged the area?
I've read reports. Me and my parents have told me about that
So the
also.
flooding was insane,
Yeah.
crazy. So I started writing a story about a new Hurricane Beulah, which is overdue, by the way. So if you think about March 27th flooding, and then last week we had hail in North McAllen that ravaged El Dorado subdivision.
Yeah.
It blew every single fence that was there. It ruined houses.
Right.
So weather's getting crazier, and we're not even in hurricane season.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
think about that.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling what's going on. So we're overdue for Hurricane Beulah. So going back to that, I was sitting there writing the story, and I was like, you know what? Forget this. Let me just create another documentary and
Right.
see what I can do with it. So I started reaching out to everybody, and it was kind of like one of those things like the day after you're reaching out to flood survivors and asking, hey, can I have an interview? Kind of seems like you're an asshole.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're creating a documentary that documents the feelings of people.
The facts.
And the raw emotions.
Yeah,
because there
right.
were a lot of people that are affected. So
Right.
a lot of people opened up and said, you can come and film. I'll give you an interview. And I got a bunch of people lined up, and you'll always find like a little gem in something that they talk about, right? So I started collecting more information, and through them, there was like, well, you should talk to this person, you should talk to this person. And it led me to a civil engineer, a commissioner, and then I started piecing together the documentary. And I used AI to help me like kind of just structure everything.
Right, right.
And this is, I got the documentary done in 25 days. Which is pretty impressive, right? But I used AI, a lot of it for the research because I can't comb through all these documents and studies and theses that I was presented with.
Right.
Right.
My mind just breaks down after I read like a paragraph.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So,
I hear you.
so I started doing all this research, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is not a story about a flood. Like, this is something bigger, and it's affecting a lot of people."
Yeah.
So through that, I started finding more information, and I was just like, "This is really going on here, and nobody's talking about this."
Yeah.
So
I hear
it
you.
was disheartening, and nobody's talking about it, and I don't understand why. So that's where it led me to the
Yeah,
documentary.
and then you're saying about the whole thing that happened in Dorado, in McAllen, Texas, about the hailstorm and all that stuff, all the winds and
The
stuff.
El Dorado
I know
subdivision.
back in 20, I believe it was before my son was already, I think, 2 years old. It was at 2014, 2015. We were staying with my in-laws in Granjeno, Texas, and that one day I had just got out for vacation, and we were staying there for the night. And all of a sudden, I hear like water, like someone just turned on a faucet, man, outside. And what the hell? I'm looking outside. I look through the window. It's white. I'm like, what the hell? Why is it so white outside? It's already 9 o'clock at night. So my father-in-law walks out, and I walk out, and we're looking at, bro, it's like we're at SeaWorld, dude, and it's just water just coming off the roofs like crazy. I'm like, what's going on? And the winds just go back and forth, and we're like, this doesn't look right. And my sister-in-law, she lived in Kansas for a while, in Oklahoma for a while, and she goes, guys, get in. I'm like, well, what's going on? It goes, everybody into the restroom, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. We don't know what the hell's going on. All of a sudden, like a minute after we got in, the windows start bouncing. Bro, we went through for, I think it was about a good 2 or 3 minutes of that. My father-in-law and I went outside to go, because we didn't hear, it was still raining, but not that much. But when we went out there, he has a big steel gate in front of his house. That thing was like crunched.
Damn.
Wow.
Across the street, there was a shed wrapped around the tree. Across this way, someone lost a roof. 4 mesquites fell down on the middle of the road. Wow. Bro, it was horrifying. It was something that you see in a movie, you know?
Yeah.
And, well, I went to bed because I'm going to go to bed. We'll take care of the morning. Bro, it was horrible. Power lines on the floor, everything. They wouldn't let anybody in. It was flooded to the max. But the beauty, the destruction to seeing that, it was crazy to watch. It was horrifying. It was emotional for my in-laws because it's their home. It literally got destroyed. But they're lucky for them, nothing hit their house that bad. They did got a couple of leakage in the roof, but the aspect of it afterwards, seeing the community come together and helping each other out, that was like, wow. Yeah. That just this little small community, and then you start seeing red cars and so on and so forth. That's stuff that, when you're saying about documentaries, when you see that, you're like, at that point, I want to write about this, but you're like, nah, better not, because I don't want to put people through the trauma again, Yeah. But what you're doing, when you're talking about this rainstorm that came in with this flood, I mean, having these people, what was their emotions like now when you were doing this?
They were devastated. One lady I talked to, and just by happen chance, we were filming on the side of the road, and she was talking to JV, which is a civil engineer that came out on a documentary. He's like, hey, can he talk to you? So we're talking to each other inside her garage. And I was like, hey, can you give me a tour of your house? And she's like, sure, come on, let's check it out. So I asked her, she was distraught, but she was still laughing and talking, right? So I was like, well, why do you have a smile? Why do you feel like you're in chipper spirits? It's like the last flood that happened in 2022 is when I lost it. Like, I lost everything. I didn't buy furniture for 10 months. Wow. So this time I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't know when. So it was just a matter of time. So she's like, after this storm, I'm leaving. Like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm no longer going to have this place. Right. So it's a lot of people feel forgotten, for one. A lot of people feel misplaced. And the interesting part about that, too, is it flooded days after in their neighborhood. So she was like, well, if it makes sense, it would have flooded that day. Right. But what happened is, and I found this out, is that those cities over there were using one pump that's already messed up, and the cities that never had flooded, or the neighborhoods that never flooded before, are starting to flood because they're pumping water out from one neighborhood to the next neighborhood that had never flooded before. Yep. So days later, and I'm not talking about like 2-3 days later, I'm talking 4 days later, they're still probably dealing with it right now. Yeah. This is crazy. Like, they're still dealing with this. And that stuff doesn't go away. It's like going back to what you were talking about with flooding. And this is what I uncovered about with the documentary, is all the stuff that I started uncovering from the reports. And it's not me saying this. I'm just a documentary filmmaker. Right. I'm a peon. I don't know any of this stuff.
You're following facts
I'm following facts that have been studied by government officials, by theses, by people that are way smarter than me. Right. They documented that in the Arroyo Colorado, the one that we love, that we fish out of every single day, our grandfathers fished out of there, 90-mile stretch from Mission all the way to Laguna Madre. Every city in between, they use it as the arroyo as wastewater. The only reason it flows is because the city's wastewater. So some of that wastewater is untreated. It's supposed to be treated. Right. Over 2 million gallons of untreated wastewater are dumped into that Arroyo Colorado.
Wow.
So that's just that, right? It's
That's
disgusting.
just the tip. That's the tip of the
So
iceberg.
yeah, fine. You have to have some wastewater that goes somewhere.
Right, exactly.
So I'm not naive. I get it, fine. But the problem is that what happens is that there's other chemicals in there.
Yes.
There's PCBs, there's DDTs, there's stuff that is banned, pesticides that are still being used to this day that are being dumped in there. And when it floods, that Arroyo Colorado comes up and it floods into the city. So if you don't know this, let me just give you a fact here. The Rio Grande Valley is a floodplain. There's 82,000 houses and 300 facilities that are schools, hospitals, all that stuff, businesses that lie within that floodplain. So you're talking about 82,000 homes, with maybe there's one person in there, 4, 6, I don't know. In Mexican, there's probably
Right.
12.
Right,
whatever.
right.
Well, all those people live in this area, and when it floods, that wastewater, those PCBs, those DDTs, all goes up into the area, floods their homes, stays in the sheetrock. When it dries out and they clean it,
Right.
it goes into the air, it turns into mold, they breathe it in.
Right.
So those trace amounts of all that stuff get into your body. If you have a flesh wound that's open, you can get flesh-eating bacteria, which has already been documented. So there's these things that keep coming up over and over and over again. And when you get exposed to these things over long periods of times, you develop cancer. You develop respiratory disease, heart disease. You get asthma. So the Rio Grande Valley has one of the highest levels of asthma in children. This is documented. They have 30% higher chance of leukemia here in the Rio Grande Valley. They have 55% more higher rates than the entire United States for cervical cancer. So putting this together, like, I'm not a researcher, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but I can put patterns together.
Right.
Like if the flooding keeps happening, people get exposed, it's environmental exposure that people are getting exposed to.
Right.
Over and over. And it doesn't happen immediately. You've been exposed to this your whole life.
Right. Yeah.
So it builds up, and people who never are super healthy, they develop cancer one day and they're like, well, how did I get this? They're talking to the doctor. It's like, well, you just had bad luck. So,
Right.
no, it's not. It's not bad luck.
Yeah, it's just
like nobody's pointing to the problem, which is the Arroyo Colorado, which is highly contaminated,
Right.
and the Rio Grande River, which is another highly contaminated place.
Of course. Yeah.
And I don't understand why like nobody wants to talk about it. And I feel
No, I was just going to mention too that it's also not a coincidence with all the growth that we've been experiencing. How many times have we seen like a labor? That used to be a field where they planted corn and other things are now becoming housing, subdivisions. So, some of those chemicals have never been treated or removed from that area.
they stay in the mud.
They stay in the mud,
dirt and all that stuff. Yeah.
and then they just build right over it, and all those things eventually come leaching out through the ground too.
Right.
When it rains, when it's windy, it's always windy, and it's always hot, so it's always in the air. So of course, it's going to be affecting people. But again, like you say, for some reason, that's just swept under the rug.
Yeah, there was a study I wanted to share with you all about Cameron County. I believe they released, and this is in 2023, so it was recent, 2023. They released 33,000 pounds of carcinogens into the air versus, I think it was like 75,000 the year before. So it went up 138%. So you ever have a problem breathing in Cameron County, there's a reason for it because the air is highly polluted. People are literally going to suffocate. And I'm not doing this to doom and gloom everybody.
Right, no.
Because a lot of when I post these things, people are like, "Well, you're just being a Debbie Downer," and like, "Why are you even talking about this?" Like, people would rather me not talk about this.
No, but that's just how people are.
Yeah.
People,
And it's disheartening though.
it is disheartening, and you'd rather just live in the bliss of ignorance, but you need to know these things
and you
because
have to
it will land on your doorstep.
Yeah, it will, because consider the fact our culture down here, when people start uncovering stuff and it's the truth, you always had one person, por pelo, no man, no le crees este vato. This guy knows what he's talking about. And in seriousness, inside, like, this guy might know something, and I'm gonna tear him down so he can just shut up about it. But it's truth that we need to know, because we as a person that lives in the RGV needs to know exactly what are we standing on.
Yeah.
I mean, what's what's under the soil that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Well,
you know?
too, I mean, we're a very health compromised population.
Yep.
You know, how many people in the valley have diabetes? And when you're a diabetic, you have, you know, you have a compromised immune system. So, you know, that can, if a normal healthy person can get cancer just out of the blue, you know, from the environment, imagine what's going to happen to someone else who has a you know,
an increased
pre-existing
risk.
condition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I talked
exactly.
to the scientist, he did the study, one of the studies on the Arroyo Colorado, like he was the guy that did the study. He was telling me that everybody here has already been exposed to the chemicals. So it's in your blood system at some point.
Yeah.
The problem is when either your immune system goes down and your immunity goes down, that chemical can get released, or when you get too old, that wall breaks down and it gets released, and then
Right.
now you have those exponential problems that you're going to have that can
Right.
develop into cancer. So it's just whoever is here has been exposed to it. Like my kids, like my daughter was asking me like, why am I doing this? And I was like, well, she's 14. And I was like, well, if I don't do this, like, if I don't talk about this, like, I can't live with myself
Right.
knowing that if you get cancer one day and I stop talking about this, like, something could have happened better, right?
Yeah, it's true.
So I was like, I have to do something. And I didn't want to be the person to find all this information. Like,
I mean, it's all there.
Yeah.
It just takes time for somebody to actually piece it together. You know, that one person, like I said, two types of people in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one that says, "Oh well, it is what it is," and the other one goes, "No, I want to know why this is happening." And that person starts digging as far as they can to find out. And then when they do find out that they don't like what they find, and they have to tell people, "Hey, man, this is what's going on."
Yeah.
And while the other guys, "No, man, you don't know nothing, bro. Just live your life. Yeah, but we're all gonna die one day."
Yeah.
That's the attitude.
yeah, you're right.
That's the attitude. And it's sad, man, because there's so much, not just here in the RGV, but anywhere in the state of Texas, even outside the state of Texas, the whole USA. You know, there's so much chemical, bro. I mean, we've spilled as humans. I mean, making chemical to treat our plants, to fix clothes, shoes, caps, anything, even stuff.
Teflon in the
everything, even to the stuff, the equipment we're using right now, it's all chemical.
We've got
And-
microplastics in our blood already.
Yeah,
so
it's
like
already
in our blood.
Exactly.
You know,
What
like-
now? Freaking become mutants or something? I don't know.
I'll grow 6 fingers in each so I can be a
Throw
better
yourself to the
football
wall
player
so you
or
see you
something,
check.
man.
They see you stick to the wall.
And I've been told that before. It's like, oh, who cares? Like, we're all gonna die for something. But I think the problem with that statement is there's an elevated risk for everybody in the Rio Grande Valley. When you get 30% more cases of leukemia,
Yeah.
55% more cases of cervical cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's high levels. It's not like you get 5% or 10%.
Right.
You're talking about 55% increase, like in cervical cancer here in the Rio Grande Valley.
We're one of the highest rated down here, aren't we?
Yeah.
As far as that,
Yep.
that's crazy, man. It's crazy.
And I think also too is people have like, maybe it's called survivor's remorse, where they've gotten cancer or something and they don't even want to look at or hear about it anymore.
Right.
Until it affects their kid or something. But then
Exactly.
even at that point, it's like, no, you'll be fine. Just keep going. Because that is
Right.
a Mexican mentality. Like, you keep going.
Right.
And I'm not naive. I get it. You have to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, you have
Yeah.
other things to fucking do.
Exactly. No, exactly.
Cancer is not one of the things that's I'm going to be worried about every single day.
Right.
Or the Arroyo Colorado and all this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I have shit to do, man. Like,
Yeah,
I got work.
exactly. I got stuff. I got bills to pay.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
But I think this valley deserves to know, like, what's here.
Yeah.
So-
No, it's true. I mean, what you're saying is true. This documentary you're working on, and you said it won't be available till after
Till
September.
September.
And
yeah.
this is going to the International Film Festival.
Yeah, the South Texas International Film Festival and also the Cinesol.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's in September and then in December. And that's why I'm kind of I was pushing the documentary, right? But at some point I was like, fuck, man, I feel like such an asshole. Like, I'm putting these stats and stuff, and then I put the Before We Drown, Joshua Morris
Right.
documentary. I was like, you know what?
He's just promoting his film, bro. Chelato, papel. I hear you.
So I was like, you know what? Let me just start sharing the facts.
Right.
And at that point, like, the documentary became secondary.
Right.
But it is a marketing tool that will get we'll reach a different audience because there's something that happens with film.
Right.
Like when you're able to sit down for 40 minutes, watch a documentary that is like you didn't know anything about, like you're forced to sit there and watch it.
Right.
And you're forced to learn. Because I know a lot of people who love documentaries. Like
Yeah.
I love watching documentaries.
I like watching documentaries myself.
So it's like,
Serial killers, but it's a documentary.
but to learn something.
To learn something.
Oh,
Baby,
that's how you
don't
do
watch
it.
the film, babe. Don't watch this episode.
All right. Taking notes.
If you find a leg in the closet, you know what?
That's mine. It's mine. I want it back.
There's a leg left on site.
Door jar, baby, door jar. No, but it's true, man. I mean, now growing up, did you see yourself wanting to do this, or was there something else in the future?
I kind of my job allows me to live like a digital life, so I get to work a lot from my computer, and I get to see my clients every now and then. So I work that way. It's allowed me a lot of time to research and get into things that I'm interested in. The older I get, the now I'm into politics and all this stuff. So it's like
Ain't that weird?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird, right?
It's so weird.
It's so weird that you're at a young age. I mean, I didn't start getting into politics probably like I was in my mid 40s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why am I into this crap? I never paid attention to it.
entertaining
Why
as
am I
fuck,
watching
though,
this shit? Oh my God. And I go, what happened today? You know?
Babe, what's CNN? Look, mira esto.
Yeah. It's weird because is what he said correctly. I mean, when we're young, we're like, okay, the world is our apple. We're gonna do whatever the hell we want. We're gonna take advantage and live life fully.
As
to the
much
fullest.
time as you think.
And then all of a sudden you're getting in your 30s. Like, I still got time. Still have a good time. You get into your 40s. Okay, let's start. Concentrating on because we're getting to what we want to get to. And then when you're reaching 50, like I am, you're like, what have I done?
Yeah.
What's going on? What am I gonna leave behind for my kid, for my nieces, my nephews? I mean, them. What, bro? Oh my God, my life went by me like that. I ain't do shit.
Isn't it scary how fast time passes?
Yes,
Though
it flies by. It
Man.
flies by super fast.
scary.
So I mean, but in your younger days, like I said, going back to where you grew up and all that. Did you see yourself doing this?
No, I really didn't know what I was gonna do. I worked at Dairy Queen. My dad owns Dairy Queen and Mercedes, so I grew up.
Well,
there.
guess where we're going after the podcast?
9-piece chicken basket for you guys.
Yes, I'll have the dude.
I bet you will.
Shut up, dude. Don't
call me dude.
Don't talk about the train you were talking about with something today. Anyways, back to the podcast here.
Yeah, so yeah, I grew up there, and I remember my dad telling me one day that I would never make more money than I would there, and I was like, oh, okay. Then I shortly left after that. It's like, because I'm that rebellious person.
Right.
So I had to go and see things. I remember I would work the window every single day, and I was like, man, I've never had a lunch break like anywhere else. What is that like? But now I eat in my fucking car on the way to the next place. So I don't know what's worse, but so it's allowed me freedom. It's allowed me, and I was kind of burdened with this because I was like, I didn't want to learn all this information. I would have been better naive about this.
Right.
Like living my own life, whatever, not even worried about this.
Right.
But it's kind of a privilege to be able to sit and think with information that you can comb through and learn and observe and kind of piece together the things that a lot of people just don't have time for because everybody's busy. So with AI, it's allowed me to comb through a lot of these things and think about it a little bit deeper than I would regularly just on face value, like of a headline or something like that. So is it a privilege? And I understand, like it's a lot of information. I can distill it down into how I can understand it.
Right.
And a lot of people are like me, learning headlines.
Right.
Stuff like that. So.
Yeah. And I've seen you on other podcasts before. I've seen you on a couple of podcasts that were before ours. And I've seen some of the interviewers, man, they're like, I'm gonna throw myself under the bus. I don't research shit. I'm just going by the fly.
Really?
But, look who's talking.
Really?
Did you study on?
Who is that guy?
Who is he again? No, and the thing is, like I said, I had been following you on some of the stuff you had on Facebook, and I'm reading all this stuff. But I'm looking at all these podcasters that they're interviewing. I mean, they're like shooting you questions like this and that and this, and you're like, and I'm seeing you like you're going like, yeah, here, this is what you want, this is what you want, what you want. and you come here, and I'm like, hey man, you dish out. What you want to say?
No,
I want to hear. I want to because I like to sponge off of
Sure.
stuff like this, man. Because it's intriguing. It's like watching a documentary live.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what the beautiful part about our podcast is. Everybody that comes in here, we learn a lot from them.
Yeah.
You know, it's a true story about them and what they're doing, what inspires them to do what they want to do.
Well, this is the Valley, man. Like, it's our home. Like,
Exactly.
this is my family's here, my friends are here, my
Right.
new friends are here.
Right.
So it's like, if
Did you hear that? We're new friends, buddy.
If people, well, I work with a nonprofit, so I work with a.
Never mind, no longer friends.
I need some volunteers, guys.
Give him your leg.
Wait.
Give him your leg.
Wait, remember Dairy Queen. Remember,
Oh, shit.
that's
They're
it.
Queen.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys.
we're-
We'll volunteer.
We're volunteering.
So I work with a nonprofit Fundación Amor Infinito, and we serve the people that are in the colonias. So
Right.
there's 500,000 people that live on the Texas-Mexico border across that. So 500,000. There's 150,000 people that live just in Hidalgo County. So 150,000 people live in colonias that are directly in Hidalgo County. Those are the people that we serve. And I was kind of like, if those people start dying off, and like, who are we gonna help? So I was kind of
Right.
like, I felt compelled to tell this stuff, to talk about it, and I get pushback from a lot of people
Oh, yeah.
that I shouldn't be talking about this, but I mean, fuck them, man.
That should strengthen you even more because, like, why do you not want me to talk about
Yeah.
this?
Right.
Like, what are you afraid of? Like,
Right.
because this is obviously an important situation and it needs to be talked about. I mean, if we're talking about people's health, then people should know. Whether they decide to bury their head in the sand, well, that's their prerogative.
Damn
But-
ostrich. No.
Let me ask you guys this: do you think that there'll be an effect out of this, like this campaigning that I'm doing?
Well,
Yes.
what you have right now, and I'm going to post this up so you guys can see this. You have a sign a petition going on right now. There's
Yes.
a QR code there. You want to, this is bringing, this is human rights are being violated in the RGV in the Rio Grande Valley.
Would you
yeah.
mind if I explain that?
Yeah,
Go
go
for it.
ahead,
Yeah,
go ahead,
So-
go ahead.
So during the documentary, I thought it was just now I'm exposing the Arroyo Colorado and the Rio Grande River and all the pollutants. And then I started, a friend of mine that would be working on a book together about this specific thing. His students made a documentary off it.
Oh, wow.
And they were talking about how the human rights were being violated. So back in the 90s in Brownsville, there was I think it's called a syphilis. I forget what it is. It's babies were being born without parts of their brain and their skull.
yeah.
So this is from the contamination, environmental
Yeah.
Toxins and all that stuff. So that happened a lot in the 90s.
Anencephaly.
And there you go,
There you go.
anencephaly.
Yeah, anencephaly.
So that happened, and his kids made a documentary off it, and they were talking about how the human rights are being violated. And I was like, well, let me see if this qualifies for having your human rights violated. And indeed, the way the United Nations has their criteria, which is the rights to clean, healthy, and sustainable environment, the right to safe and clean drinking water, the right to sanitation, the right to health, the right to adequate housing and infrastructure, the right to non-discriminatory and environmental justice. The Rio Grande Valley hits every single one of those. So that means 1.4 million people in the Rio Grande Valley are having their human rights violated right now. And I don't say that lightly. I'm not the guy that's like, hey, your human rights are being violated.
Right,
Like,
right.
I'm not that dude, trust
Right.
me. But
He was the guy standing outside with a sign.
that's a big statement.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So I came across this, and everything goes back to having our human rights violated. And that's why I think is anything even going to happen from this? Because that's a big deal. Like, it's a big, huge undertaking. You want to help 1.4 million people in the Rio Grande Valley? Is like, well, yeah, whatever, dude.
Right.
Like, does the government even care enough? Do the city people even care enough? Like, I don't know. And that's why I have 1,000 signatures, and I feel like it's just, okay, 1,000 signatures. There should be 85,000 signatures.
We might blink at it. Yeah, I got you.
82,000 people, or 83,000 people and 300 facilities are within the floodplain. There should be that many signatures on this thing because those are the ones that are going to get affected over
Right,
and over
exactly,
and over again.
exactly.
So if that many signatures are on there, then that's going to go to lawmakers and say 85,000 people are saying we need help. So at that point, I feel it can't be ignored. But at 1,000, it's like you're a concerned citizen. You have 1,000 people that are concerned.
Yeah.
Hi, bye.
Right.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like
Pretty
I
much.
feel like I've hit a brick wall. And I know with the campaigning and with your all's help, it'll help push this
Yeah.
campaign. But I just feel I'm getting a little bit more. I'm losing faith every single day that it's nothing's gonna happen. It's just gonna be forgotten, and
Right,
people
right.
are gonna go.
Well,
and,
you need to first break through people's apathy. I mean, the people that have been hit the hardest are the ones that you really do have to convince, because how many times does a house have to be flooded from a storm that comes through once or twice a year or a decade or whatever?
Right.
And you know, you get a little bit of help here, a little bit of help there, but you know, it'll just happen again.
Yeah.
Instead of fixing the actual problem, what the actual problem is, you know, you're just giving little bandage aids.
Yeah.
Yeah, at some point you're just like, okay, fine, whatever, you know, as long as I can get back to where I was, you know, when this first started.
right, as fast as possible.
As
Yeah.
fast as possible. That's a type of apathy that people have. It's like, I don't want it to get better. I just want it to get back to where it was before,
Yeah.
as fast as possible.
Exactly. And plus, you got the older generation that says, no, pues, pasó, it happened.
Yeah.
Ya,
Yeah,
acabó, you know, se pasa otra vez, ya sabemos.
That's
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
thing you have to get through,
Yeah.
is like get past all of that, because
Yeah.
it'll. That's another thing. Like, since we're kids, even, you know, me and we
Yeah.
can tell you stories about, you know, our parents. You know, did they want us to go to college? You know, did they want us to be engineers or not? No, we just stay here in the valley.
Yeah.
You know, work at a lumber mill, or find some job working at Home Depot or something. That's fine. You know, don't set your expectations too high. You know, that's in the culture too.
Right.
Down here.
Yeah, it's
so
a
you
lot of
gotta
culture.
work through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
bust out of that stereotype.
Yeah.
Is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
And it's true. Some of the ones that need to sign this petition are the ones that have been affected by it the most.
Yeah.
They go out there, they put the name on it, but like I said, you always have that one person in the family or that one person in that household. No, me pa qué? ¿Qué van a hacer?
Yeah.
No van a hacer nada.
Yeah.
And then that gets imprinted to the people that want to sign. And like, well, maybe they're right. They're not going to do nothing.
Yeah.
But until they actually step out of the shadows and say, you know what, let's try to move on this. Then the ball will,
in one voice.
exactly.
Yeah.
You'll get that snowball effect, you know, and suddenly it gets so big. These politicians, whatever they're in charge of that, they goes, okay, we need to listen because, you know,
Yeah, because
elections next month.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
I think that's where you have to hit them the hardest right there, Josh. Election day.
It's midterms.
Right. Live camera. Would you like to sign a petition? Future mayor? No.
Well, even then,
well, yeah.
I mean, they're gonna have their own. You know, I'd rather focus on border security, because that's more important. Because God knows, you know, we got a freight train of coke running through here every day. You know,
Yeah, I think at this
what's
point the
happening here?
cocaine is a lot safer than
Yeah,
what's
the
in the
cocaine.
oil.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It's all natural and
All
it's,
natural.
and it's delicious on
Somebody,
fajitas, you know?
somebody's gonna be watching this podcast. Ahorita vieja, agarra un kilo. It's gonna be okay.
You live longer. Don't quote me.
¿Qué kilo? No.
Puro, ¿qué mix que nada? 30
que
kilos.
nada.
El 7-Up tiro la chingada. No, but it's the truth, man. And, you know, all this stuff that happens this happened in our backyard.
Yeah.
There's something as being a resident of the RG for so many years, like Chu here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure yourself also.
Yeah.
Seeing that happen, and now that you're trying to stand up and say, hey, you know what? Like I said, you get older, you start noticing more stuff that you didn't realize when we were younger. You know, when we were younger, we had more energy to do it. You know, we were pushing it like crazy.
Yeah.
But now that we're a little bit older, like, dude, you know, this is something we need to approach. This is something we need to stand up and say, hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
What are we going to do about this? And like I said, the older generation is slowly, you know, flaring out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got the Generation X coming up, and they're like, hey, man, we got to fix this shit.
Yeah.
Because
And I mean,
it's got to get done.
We're already exposed to it. Our children that are alive now have exposure to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not for. It's for our children's children.
Yeah,
And their
exactly.
children.
Exactly.
So if we clean it up now, it'll take 10 to 15 years. Like that's how long it'll take to clean this up. but it has to be done now because it will just
It has
continue.
to start now.
And think about this too: is that McAllen is set. The Rio Grande Valley is set to double their population by 2040. So you're talking about 1.4 million people. There's going to be a lot more people that are going to be here in the Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot more sick people.
Yep.
So if this thing doesn't get fixed now, or we just even start talking about it at a grander level, you're going to have so many sick people here. Those rates that I was talking about, 55% cervical cancer, 30% leukemia, those numbers are going to shoot up even more.
And you say those numbers, and this is me talking conspiracy. And you go, consider the fact. I mean, being part of a medical field or being the medical board, you go, shit, we got to build another hospital, and we're gonna make some more money. The more people that get sick, the more money we're gonna get.
Yeah.
Well,
And
how many hospitals have been popping up here left and right?
well, they're slowly popping up.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're like little mini, like drive-through hospitals now.
Each city, practically.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Before we go into it, we got a shout out to our sponsors, bro, because they got some bills to pay here. Big shout out. Let me go ahead and remove it. I'll put Leaf Chew on here because unfortunately they got to see his stupid ass. Big shout out to Triple J Plumbing. Give Juan a call at 956-854-9622. Jerry at 956-478-5316. These are licensed plumbers. They do residential homes and all that good stuff.
Commercial,
also
medical.
Medical, right? Medical.
They handle medical waste.
Medical waste. There are licensed plumbers. These guys are great. I know we're supposed to have them on the podcast.
Yes, they've been
Hopefully,
invited.
I
back.
think next month.
Yes.
So that one's going to be a very. They have a lot of crap to talk about.
Oh,
Literally.
can't wait.
But,
Bring a spoon, buddy.
bring a spoon because someone's getting fed. It ain't gonna be me. But tune in for that one. Let them know Chewy News saying, don't forget your crap is their bread and butter. Also, big shout out to Anona's Construction, 956-363-7195. Call Tony. They do reconstruction and renovations for commercial and residential. These guys are amazing. They are the carpenters that they can do basically anything, guys.
It's a family business.
It's a family business owned.
Owned and operated.
Yes, they are constantly busy. If you're trying to get a hold of them, they don't answer. Just leave a message and they'll get back to you ASAP. This is the guy you want in your corner when you're building your home. They're great people, great company, man, and they'll give you the best prices that they can do for you. And let them know Chunu sent you. So we're coming back to the podcast here. Let me put Josh back into the picture here because Josh is the main. You get out of that big picture. There you go. We got our David Garcia saying, "I know these people." Yes, you do, buddy.
Yo, what's up, Dave?
And I got our number one fan, Louis. So, Ahmad, there, Louis. You happy? You happy? You happy? Yes. They call him Matu. Yes, all right, Louis, I got you. And put that on there so they can read what the hell I'm talking. She's putting LOL, all that good stuff. There you go. But going back to this right now, so I want to kind of rewind and fast forward to what we're talking about where you grew up and where you come from, where you came from.
First, I want to talk more about this Dairy Queen. This is fascinating.
You see, you brought this onto yourself. You should have never said that.
So if these guys show up, don't fucking serve them. I've never met them in my
You
life.
see those guys on the podcast? Don't serve them.
What do you do with all the toast?
You're gonna show a screenshot of us. It's like, who is that guy?
Especially the guy with the one leg. He's that big. Don't give him crap.
I know you're in there. Turn the lights back on.
It's 4 o'clock. You're open at 7. Anyways, I want to rewind and talk about this bad boy because you say you interviewed quite a few people for this documentary, and then I'll put the picture up right here. The Collapse, the true story of the Queen Isabella Causeway documentary. You can watch it now on YouTube. You said?
Yeah, it's free on YouTube.
Free on YouTube, and you can see all the awards that were given here or nominated for.
Those are actually winners.
They're all winners.
Yeah, they're all winners.
Damn, dude, that's
I'm proud
awesome.
of that
Vegas,
story, so.
Las Vegas, Hollywood Golden Award, New York movie. Hey, New York, what's going on?
What's going on?
New York, where's our award, New York? No, I'm just joking. But when you release this bad boy, finally to the public, now that it's already said and done and everything, and people are watching it, because I know you have to be there to watch it when it's being released, and people are watching it. I still remember that collapse. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. It was crazy. And those people that were killed on that accident, people that almost fell over themselves and were able to survive that accident. When you're in the setup showing the movie off for the people that are there watching, do you get a lot of emotional reactions when they're watching this? I mean, seeing that actually happen right in front of you.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind when that's being happening?
It's a surreal thing because I got to meet a lot of the people over the 2 years that I was studying and working on this project. So a lot of people I got to meet and know a lot about their lives. And when they actually see it for the first time, they see themselves on the screen or something like that. It's a very emotional thing. It's a weird feeling to be able to present your work to people that lived through that thing.
It's crazy.
It's a very weird thing, but at the same time, I've always gotten the same thing. It's like, you did a great job. Thank you for telling my story.
Right.
Thank you for telling our story. Like Rob was the main guy. Rob told that story so impeccably well. That's why I feel like it was a story. It's not because of the filmmaking or the videography or anything like that won these awards. It was literally because of the story, the storytelling that he was able to tell the story so well. It compelled the audience to come along for the journey.
Right.
And it was an hour and 15 minutes. Like, it feels like you're watching something for 30 minutes. That's how good the storytelling is it condenses it down in your mind. Like, it's 30-minute long, but it's actually an hour 15.
Right.
So it was a very special story that a lot of people had questions to that finally got answers.
Good.
20 years later.
Yes, yeah, and the reason I bring that up is because you see the reports on TV. Oh, this happened. There was the cement way was loose and they collapsed. Others saying it was a tugboat coming in and hit it, nicked it, knocked it down.
Yeah.
I mean, he was drunk, this and that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
What exactly happened? And there's so many stories. No, me la comadre tiene una hinche polla afuera, se cayeron todos los higos, tumbaron toda la chingada. No, it wasn't that. You know, it's something that was emotional.
Yeah.
For the whole RGV when that happened, it was a scary thought. It was a scary moment.
Well, when it happened too, you got to remember when it happened. It was just after the
9/11.
The 9/11.
3 days
attacks.
after 9/11.
So,
Yeah, that's also something else that kind of scares you a little bit. You're like, shit, they just
The
knocked down the bridge.
There were still people when we were filming it that they had gotten attacked by 9/11. Like, they thought that it was terrorists.
Yes.
And it's like, no, that's not how it happened.
yeah.
No, and I don't want to ask how it happened because I want to see this. I want to see the documentary
It's
itself.
compelling.
I gotta jump into that because
There is a spiritual aspect to this that we uncovered. I won't ruin it for everybody, but there was a spiritual aspect that I told Rob, was like, I'm not gonna put this in unless we find documentation about it. And we found documentation about it, and it ended up in the documentary. I think the Rio Grande Valley is very highly Catholic and Christian and religious. They'll gravitate towards what I'm talking about.
So man, I got to check that out, dude.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you another story later on about that, the whole thing on the island thing, because I've seen stuff.
Oh my God! You hit a
crazy.
pelican, dude. Who cares?
It wasn't a pelican.
Get
Chris,
over
what a
it
God. It
already.
was an eagle.
No.
A brown eagle. No.
It was
It was this big. No.
He hit a pelican. Dude. Won't shut up about it.
No. So I mean, and I'll even say right now, before my wife and I were married, we would go to Corpus Christi a lot. And there's a certain park there on Shoreline Drive that they have there, and they have a pier there we can go fishing. We're coming down on our bikes, coming down this long hill, like nothing, right? And
Making out.
but no, not even. That was later. No, we're coming down the hill, and we did the whole ride. We were coming back, and when we were coming back, we stopped in that park, and my wife goes, "How did they put that Virgin Mary out there?" I go, "What Virgin Mary?" Right there. And when I look, literally, if I'm lying, I'm dying. That thing looked about at least 30 feet high and like 15 feet wide.
Wow.
Huge in the middle of the water. I was like, what? And I saw people falling to their knees, and they were probably like, this is weird. What's going on? And, I thought nothing about it. Okay, there's probably someone shooting an image up there. But come on, this was back in, 2000, not even 97, 98.
Wow.
We didn't have that technology yet. At least I didn't think we did.
Right.
But seeing that, I was like, that's weird. Never thought about it. So we went about the day. Then when we turned back to look,
Wow,
gone. Never talked about it till right now.
Wow.
And then when you say something spiritual like that, is like I believe there's stuff being as far as like that region area.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well,
It's crazy, man.
If you like, what Josh was saying about how we haven't had a hurricane. my mom was always saying that we are blessed. We are blessed that, it always, we've had hurricanes that swing just to the south,
Jesus,
just
man.
to the
Just
north.
miss us.
Yeah.
It just barely misses us, and that's got to be some kind of, somebody's watching out for us.
No kidding, dude. No
we're
kidding.
Be grateful for it.
It was crazy because we just got that March 27th flood. Then last week, the hail over there,
Yeah.
horrible rain. This week, I think tomorrow's supposed to be the hottest part in Texas or something like that. There's something going on. I'm not a whatever conspiracy theorist,
not-
but I mean,
not throwing-
something's going on.
Not throwing names on there, Elon.
For real.
You and your damn rockets. No, but
And that's another thing too. Is like we're talking about pollution.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to get this water from Mexico from the 1944 treaty that they owe us. So Mexico's going to release that. Where is it coming from?
Where the hell is that
It's
coming
coming from 6 polluted rivers that are in Mexico.
puro
Yeah.
cagada, bro.
So I mean,
Yeah.
at every angle we're getting bombarded with pollution.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a matter of time. And I hate to say this because I was in Harlingen at a city meeting, and there was a bunch of kids that they're getting awards for their swimming team and their volleyball
Right,
team
right.
and stuff like that, and they were all taking pictures with the mayor and everybody. And I was just looking at them. I was like, man, they don't even know what's going on. Like it's so saddening to me. Like I see big groups of people. I was like, if they only knew like what is really going on here. Like it's saddened because they're having the time of their lives. They're celebrating.
It's all publicity, bro.
It's-
It's all publicity. It being in the eye of the public. Oh, they're doing a nice thing there. Oh, they did this.
I don't doubt that they're
Yeah.
doing good
Yeah,
things for the community, but yeah.
the bigger thing, the bigger picture, like what you're saying, come on. How long has it been since the levees have been repaired?
Yeah.
Those things are not going to hold up. They're it's like building a sandcastle. It's only going to work for about a couple of minutes. After a while, it's going to tumble and go away, and it's going to overflow.
What always happens whenever there's a storm or there's flooding or anything? Oh, the next time we'll be ready. We'll be ready. And then what do they do? Oh, they move some papers around, they move some stuff around, and then everything stops.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, like if you can drive by any canal, what do you see? It's full of garbage. It's full of plants and materials. Oh yeah, those are being maintained. Those are being maintained. Bullshit.
Yeah.
That's not.
And the people do have to do their part because there is a huge problem with people just dumping stuff.
Dumping the
Yeah.
garbage.
Like,
Yeah.
the people are responsible. It's not just cities or what the storms like that. Everybody has to do their part
Right.
because if you don't do it, nobody's gonna do it.
Right. It starts at the top. If you would actually give people a place to throw their mattresses or their tires, without charging them, an arm and a leg,
Yeah.
then they would. Nobody wants that junk just everywhere.
Lord knows we have the Mount Garbage Land of Donna over here. That's about at least 70, 80 feet high in the air.
Dude,
Come on, bro.
you know that they're starting to sell the land around that for housing.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
With how polluted the ground is around there.
Well, that brings up about the Donna Lake. So there's a study done.
Talk to me. Talk to me. You're talking my neighborhood, bro.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with Donald Lake, bro. Como dice mi tío, lo quemas, se quita la química, bro.
Just don't drink the water or eat the fish.
Hey,
Too late.
we got a buddy who lives right next to Donna Lake, and
Yeah.
he's fine.
Totally
for
fine.
the most part.
For the most part.
Just don't look at his third eye.
Look,
Well, there was a study done by Texas A&M that they found in the drinking water in Alamo and Progreso that they found in 100% of all the studies that they did, all the samples that they found, they found lead, arsenic in all of them.
Oh, shit.
So this is not like little levels. They're levels. Yeah, buy bottled water, people. Bottled water. So it's something that
Buy it in the
Texas
can.
A&M, these Baylor University, these people are doing studies off of something that's going on here.
Right.
It's a big deal.
It is.
Like it's not like it's also UTRGV that we're in an environment that is highly polluted. That something needs to be done.
Right.
Like it just needs to be done at this point. Like
Yeah.
something has to happen.
And it's true because we need to clean it up. What do we use to? You think I'm gonna go out and buy a package of bottled water to water my tomatoes or water
Right.
my corn or whatever.
Or to take a bath, or to
Yeah,
wipe wash
exactly.
your car.
Brush your teeth.
Yeah, man, this is stuff that we all literally water from the faucet. We wash our dishes with it. I mean, consider the fact we are using soap doesn't mean it's gonna take everything off.
It's not going to wash lead off. Right?
It's not.
Yeah,
It's not.
there's trace chemicals, and that goes back to is like, what about filtered water? Well, there's still trace
Yeah.
particles in there that over time it builds up.
Yep.
Right.
So it's just one of those things that I think people need to be more aware of, like,
Right.
of how they get bottled water,
Right.
like, just purified water. It's just do as the best you can
Right.
to lessen your contamination.
Yeah, no, and for another example, I have where I work in a hardware store, and I have customers that tell me, hey, I got my faucet, it has all this rust and lime, blah blah blah. It goes, well, what they say, plumbers say, oh, that's the amount of iron that the water has
Yeah.
in the resident value. That's not what it is.
It's built up there.
It's something else.
Yeah.
But,
But I
I
think
mean-
people aren't so naive to, because they know like their water stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It smells and
Yeah.
looks cloudy. It's like,
Yeah.
and if you look at it, it's like, well, I'm not drinking that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
exactly.
it's just that it's not being talked about. That's a problem. It's like nobody's being transparent about it. It's like, just don't drink the fucking water.
You should have a big people that sign the petition and have a couple of politicians up there in the way and greet them, know who they are, and then just serve them water.
Water, right?
And he goes, "There's water for you gotta drink," and have them drink it. And he goes, "That's your city water right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
That's came straight out of the tap.
That came straight out of the tap, just for you guys.
Yep. That'd be a harsh reality. Eye opener.
Welcome to Wichita." You know, but it's the truth, though,
Yeah.
man. I mean, there's so many things here in the RGV, and we're going to the talking about that as far as the water supply. We down the lake, I've known for the longest time. I go, bro, you don't go swimming out there. You don't go fish out there. And there's still people that go do
Are there
that.
signs in Spanish?
There's signs everywhere.
But are they in Spanish? Because I heard that that's how civil rights are violated. When you're not speaking the language or telling the language of the people that are most prevalent there,
right.
that is a civil rights violation. Not a human rights, a civil rights violation.
Yeah, I know when you're driving. If I've been there in a long time. I don't go out there anymore. Hell no, that place gives me the heebie-jeebies now. But when we used to go out there, there used to be a yellow sign right when you drive in to your right on one side of the lake. It would tell you contamination, no fishing, no swimming.
Yeah.
On the bottom, I've never really read it. I don't know if it's in Spanish. Maybe it is in Spanish,
Yeah.
or just weird lettering from aliens. I don't know what the hell.
It's land. It's land. It's close
It
enough.
says pigland, but I don't really read it. Oh well.
Oh, well.
Someone will explain to me, translate. No, but I mean the signs are everywhere. When you go there, you make the turn to your left. That's there. To your right, there's one there.
Wow.
In the entrance, there's one there. It's la gente, bro.
Yeah.
It's la gente. No, it's not. I mean, not to say that. Not to say that. Oh, well, they should have put it. No, they need to put it in Spanish. That's a violation of the right. They need to read that. I can tell you, don't fish there. Don't fish here because it's contaminated with alligators, and then put on the bottom, alligators here in Spanish and all that good stuff. You think that's gonna stop them?
Nah.
No, they won't. They're still gonna go in. Vamos a ver. Vamos a ver. Come on, bro. I mean, you have those. You have a couple of apples that are that naive to still do it.
And it's true, because my grandpa fishes in the Aurora. He's 95. So when I was talking to the scientist, Jim White, he was saying, I was asking, well, how do I tell people like that are 95 years old, like, don't go fishing in the Arroyo? Like, he's made it. Like, he's made it. He's fine, but everyone else is playing Russian roulette. So it's just...
Well, unfortunately, you can't worry about them. You just can't. I mean,
They're on their way out.
Yeah, they're on their way out. The same thing with
A ver,
people.
pa acá, pa. Let me pop your back. A ver, paga la luz. You see, you're glowing. You see, you're glowing. No contamination, guys.
It's the same thing with the people that have that attitude of like ya pa que, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You just got to work past them. Get to the people who are willing to listen.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's a hard thing. Like I said, you're always gonna have those naysayers. And what you're doing is a great thing. Trying to get people to sign the petition. Trying to look out for not just our kids, but their kids, our grandkids, and their kids in the future. 15 years is what you accumulate on what it would take to clean it up.
10 to 15 years.
10 to 15 years. I don't see why people shouldn't sign this petition.
I think Elon should take the brunt of the cost to fix up at least the arroyo to be able to function out of Cameron County. Like if his rockets are going to be making billions of dollars a year, it'll cost $500 to $1 billion to fix the arroyo. That's one problem solved. Now you worry about the Rio Grande River. So it's just because at some point people are going to be asking, well, how do we fix it? I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
Right.
But I can come up with some ideas,
Right.
and I don't know if they're stupid, but
Right.
at least they're ideas. Nobody else is talking about ideas, so it will take about $500 million to $1 billion to fix up the arroyo, to clean it up. And I think Elon should take the brunt of that because he's operating now SpaceX out of the Cameron County, the Rio Grande Valley. His rockets are going to affect a lot of people with the pollution that's going to be pushed up.
Look at the weather here,
Yeah.
bro.
So
Look at the
clean up
weather.
at least the arroyo, and you can blast your rockets over there.
Over there.
Over there.
Over there.
Yeah.
Kingsville. Shit him over Kingsville.
Over there. So I mean, I think it's a plausible thought to entertain.
It's crazy, and it's crazy. I mean, the RGV is slowly changing a lot through the years that we've lived through, you know, to the point where now we're seeing, and I'm looking at one of them right next to your computer right here in the back, so we see a lot of these alligators popping out all over the place now, man. They're moving. They're
There's
moving
one on
to areas.
2nd Street in McAllen.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
I know. It's like, what, was that an alligator or that a pimp? I didn't know what it was when I drove by, you know? It's right there. You got
The
the
super skewer, that guy's from Oregon. He barbecues the alligators. Oh, so delicious. This is my buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he would have caught that thing, cooked it up.
They're slow. Alligators are slowly realizing not to come anywhere near Hispanics because we will barbecue your ass.
Learn the hard
If you're
way.
watching the podcast, alligator, we will barbecue your ass and make boots after that, bro.
For real.
Y luego una purse para la vieja. Listo, bro. Chicken, contaminate the river. They go, we don't want the illegals crowd contaminated with alligators. Bro, you already got Juan on the other side making
Alligator
cintas, botas, and purses, hats. It didn't work, but they look great.
Looks amazing.
It looks amazing. I might a pair. But yeah, man. But that, I mean, by the way, we're coming up to, we're already an hour into the podcast. Man, was this
Oh
awesome?
my God!
Is this so-
Turn it off already.
No, but last but not least, Josh, you're going through this whole. Let me show you your picture here of this last one here of the actual documentary you're working on. It's called "Before We Drown: The True Story," documented by Joshua Morales. We should expect this in September, correct?
September, yeah.
It'll-
I'll be doing some private shows in different cities across the Rio Grande Valley until September because I can show it privately. I can't show it publicly because it could get disqualified under a technicality.
Right.
Keep a lookout. I'll share the information with you. I can share it with your audience, and if they can make it,
Right.
it'll be good because JV, the civil engineer that comes out on documentary, will also be with me talking about what he's doing with the RGV Drainage Coalition,
Okay.
which is being able to help the infrastructure update it in the entire Rio Grande Valley. So they're doing really good work because they understand too that it's a ticking time bomb. Where
It
something's
is.
gonna happen.
It is a ticking time bomb, man, and we're the ones who are going to get the backlash of it later on down the line. If not us, our
Yeah.
kids are going to get the backlash. It's just going to get worse. And by the time you know, we're all going to be a bunch of minions walking around all the place, all yellow, and go, oh look, a new race. But it is what it is, man. And all we can do is just sign that petition, move forward, and try to make the RGV a beautiful place again,
Yeah.
like it was back way before we had all this.
1940s is
chemical.
when
There
they
you go.
started
There you
polluting.
go.
So
See,
it's been a long time.
we're living in.
Oh, wow.
We actually are in a studio that was built in 1902, so
Oh, wow.
I think we're in good hands right now. At least I think so. Is that mold?
That's lead, pendejo. Míralo.
And let me look.
That's lead.
No, but Josh, your socials for all your social medias.
Yeah, it's under Joshua Morales. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm usually offending people all over Facebook. So I mean, and by the way, if you come at me, I'm a master troll too. So I'll just troll your ass as well. So, I mean, feel free.
Right. Do that, guys, bro. There you go. There's a QR code right there, guys. You can go and reach Josh. Find out all the special things that he's doing. If you want to check him out, check out the actual word and discussions highly functioning discussions on his Facebook. It's a lot of entertainment, guys. Trust me, I know what I'm saying. And also, don't forget about this petition he also has right there. Click on that QR code and they'll take you straight there. Sign up. Don't be the problem, be the solution. It's what I like to say a lot, man.
Well said.
Yeah, it's the truth. Don't be the problem, be the solution. But Josh, all I can say, man, is that what you're doing as far as documentaries is freaking awesome, bro.
Thank you, man.
I can't wait to go home and fire up that Collapse movie because, like I said, I've always wanted to look for it. I could never find it.
Let me know what you
now
think.
that I got the link,
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it. Oh, baby, we're watching this tonight. She's like, hell, we are. No, but all I can say is continue what you're doing. Keep bringing the facts out in the open. Someone has to do it.
Yeah.
Someone has to do it. If nobody wants to step up to swing the big bat, I mean, someone's have to do it, and you're doing it. So all power to you, man. Continue doing what you're doing, and keep promoting, man. Keep promoting. People need to know. People need to know what's going on. I know if anything else comes up in your side of the neighborhood that you want to promote, let us know. Throw it to our chat page or throw it to our podcast page on Facebook or on Instagram, and we'll share it like crazy.
Awesome. Appreciate
like
it.
wildfire.
Or if
man.
you want to come back and talk about it. You know,
Yeah,
just, you know.
More, we'd love to talk to you.
I
after.
would love to come back once I get the petition to 10,000.
That'll work.
So it gives us something to work towards. I think it's
Then call me in about an hour, bro. I'm coming back next week. What the hell?
because it will be a big deal if it gets to 10,000 because
Right.
that's when it'll get in front of lawmakers. Is that they just can't ignore it anymore.
Yeah.
Is there 10,000 residents in the Rio Grande Valley have the same concerns?
We're up for re-election, are we?
Yeah, pretty soon.
Don't come looking for me because you're not coming to my podcast. And you come talk, not get ponle, bro. Ponle, bro. Free steaks. Well, maybe I'll think about it. Damn you and those steaks.
Really?
He got us.
That's the bride?
He got us with the Dairy Queen.
That's the bride?
He got us with the Dairy Queen, bro.
Not even a botan. Okay.
Not even a botan. No, that's
okay.
it. I'm out.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
No, Josh, like I said, once again, man, thank you so much for coming out, playing with us today. Good luck to you, man. Hopefully everything works out for you, man, and get all those petitions for
Awesome.
you, bro.
Appreciate it. Thank you
All
for
right,
having
man.
me.
No problem, man. Anytime. Like I said, you're more than welcome to come back anytime
Absolutely.
you like. Guys, that is our podcast for tonight. We have another episode next week on Monday night. That is with Abel Gonzalez del Toro. He will be here for, I think, the second time. No, it'll be a third interview because I interviewed him at the South Texas International Film Festival. This will be
Yes,
the
he
third
did.
time in our pod on Monday. Unfortunately, Chu won't be here.
No.
I will be here, and I'll probably bring my little brother with me to join me for a couple of questions on that.
Ew.
I know he was telling me he wanted us to be in one of his films for something. I don't know. Something about me being a radio DJ and you being Make-A-Wish Foundation. I don't know. I just it was just something he was talking about, and I said, "Hell,
Oh my God,
I'm
that
down."
is the role I was born to play.
Just like what Troy being said, buddy, whatever you're doing, I don't know what he has, but good job.
His specific words were, "If doctors can cure this, then
we can
God
fix
bless
the
them.
RGB. We can fix the RGB.
we can do anything. We can live on the moon. We can move to Mars. Anything is possible."
Jesus
gonna happen.
Christ.
It
It's
will
gonna
happen, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We'll see you next week on Monday, 7:30 p.m. here on the Tuning Podcast again. Any last words? Chew.
I'm going to take my leg off and sign the petition.
Yes, yeah, please sign the petition. Guys,
Otherwise, I will take my leg off.
please sign the petition. You don't want to see it. Well, I don't want to see it. But sign us off, Chew.
I didn't chew.
And we will see you next week, 7:30 p.m. on